Trade talks are escalating surrounding the Milwaukee Bucks as John Horst has been linked to a new trade target. We're going to break down exactly who that is and discuss what it means going forward, as this report is extremely interesting and the player they are linked to could change everything. We're going to break all that down, but before we get into it, folks, if you're a part of the 83.4% who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Bucks content. We're on the road to 2,000 subscribers. If you're enjoying the daily Bucks content, make sure to hit the subscribe button. But ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot of trade talks, trade rumors, reports, everything going around, and among those trade rumors is a very interesting player. And that player, which we'll dive into now, is Nikola Vučević. So there's a bunch of different things that are going on. So we'll start with how Vuč is doing. So Nikola Vučević is putting together an outrageous offensive season. So because I want to preface this before we get into the report with how good Nikola Vučević has been. He's averaging 21 a game. He's shooting insane from the three-point line. And quite frankly, this could be the perfect fit for the Milwaukee Bucks. I know it's not going to sound great off rip, but it's a very intriguing player the more you think about it. Now, again, do non-Bulls fans know that for some reason, 34-year-old Vuč is having a career year, 21 points per game, 60% from the field, almost 48% from three. So he can stretch the floor. He'd obviously fit alongside Giannis as well. And then we have a bunch of different reports coming out here. So this one is very intriguing. So the Bucks use that $23 million expiring contract. A rumor has circulated surrounding Nikola Vučević and Torrey Craig. The Warriors get Brook Lopez and Dalen Horton-Tucker, and the Bulls get Wiggins, a first, another first, and a 2031 second. So it's essentially the Bucks giving up Brook Lopez, a first swap, and a second for Nikola Vučević. Now, first of all, I'm very intrigued to see what you all think about this trade down below, because it's not the best deal on the surface. Now, you are getting a 3-and-D wing that they've been linked to in Torrey Craig. You're also getting Nikola Vučević, who would instantly be your starting center. And the thing here is that you're really replacing Brook Lopez with Nikola Vučević, and I'm not sure I fully love that idea, but it's very interesting, and the rumor is it's intriguing. So the deal would basically be, again, Nikola Vučević and Torrey Craig. That's who the Bucks get, and they give up a swap, a second-round pick, and Brook Lopez. Now, the Bucks have been playing very well. One of the main reasons I don't think they're going to do this because of how good the Bucks have been playing at the moment. Like, I don't know if they need to go ahead and trade Brook Lopez, who's having a very solid season for them. Nothing crazy offensively. He's obviously aging. He's really bad at, perimeter defense, but at least he can provide some paint protection. With this trade, you are giving up a lot of the paint defense that you have, because then you really only have Giannis who can protect the paint, because Brook Lopez is their best paint defender, and Nikola Vučević is a horrific paint defender, quite frankly. Yes, he would be a huge upgrade over Brook Lopez defensively, or offensively, sorry, but defensively it would be a major drop-off. And as you start to think about it from the perspective of the Bucks, if you have a starting lineup of Dame, Chris, Torian, Giannis, and Vučević, it will be very hard to stop that lineup offensively. You have Vuč, who's shooting almost 50% from three, who can stretch the floor. You have him, he can, post up. He can do a bunch of different things, shoot the midi, similar to what Brook can do, but on a much higher level. And then you also have Dame, who can, can produce off the dribble. And then you have Giannis, who's Giannis. I don't need to say much, especially if you're running a pick and roll with Dame and Vuč. It would be very difficult to guard. The problem with that is your defense is not good. It's pretty cooked. So if you make a deal like this, the Bucks would have to bring in another guy. And I think if they make a deal like this and you get rid of Brook Lopez, you then add a Robert Williams to the bench. Because then if you have Robert Williams on the bench, you can run lineups with really Vuč and, I'm not sure, Vuč and Robert Williams at the four, if you really want to play big and be defensive-minded regarding the four position. But even just in general, you would have to make some other moves. And I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is a little bit ridiculous. But the Bulls are trying to trade Vučević. He's 34, approaching the end of his career. He has more time than Lopez does, but perhaps they're looking for someone a bit younger to take his place. It's hard to discount the stats that Vučević has been putting up. It remains to be seen if the Bulls are able to get the kind of return that they are looking for in a deal for Vuč. They are a team that is stuck in the middle. Milwaukee likely won't make any deal until the deadline is closer. They're probably hoping the price goes down for Vuč because he won't come cheap. Again, a first-round pick and a second for Vuč. And, of course, you're also getting Torrey Craig, who's a solid 3-and-D player. I think at this point, you got to wait for his price to come down. Let me know down below, what would be the maximum amount you're willing to give up for Vuč? Obviously, the Bucks don't have a ton of assets like an A.J. Johnson. Would you guys be willing to maybe part with A.J. Johnson and a second-round pick for Vučević? It's possible. I think they're going to wait for the price to drop. I don't think they give up their highly touted 2031 first-round pick. Even in this case, it's a swap for Vučević, unless they really think it puts them over the top, which is why I think in any deal that involves Nikola Vučević, there are other pieces going the other way. And you see this here. The Lakers, Clippers, Bucks, Pelicans, Knicks, and Warriors are all looking for front court help. The Lakers' interest is obviously well observed. The Bucks, they need some front court help as well, which I think lends into the... I don't know if this is the guy that they're looking for particularly, Nikola Vučević, but man, is he having a great season, and you can see the upside with this deal. The upside is obviously you have probably the best offensive starting five, maybe the Celtics, in the NBA. I mean, Dame, Giannis, Chris Middleton, Vooch, and Torian Prince. And they probably play Andre Jackson Jr. instead of Chris Middleton to kind of help manage some of that defense, especially obviously in the backcourt. But your backcourt set and your frontcourt then is Giannis and Vooch. I mean, that's impossible to guard. Vooch is a very good offensive player, even this late in his career. And obviously, these things would come down. The volume would definitely fall down. And even if he falls back to a 17 point per game player shooting a great percentage from three, I don't hate it. But Brook Lopez is probably the better fit at the moment for this team anyways, which is why I think instead of going out and getting a guy like Vooch, you'd probably be better off getting a guy like Robert Williams, Clint Capella, someone who is a more veteran, doesn't even have to be veteran, someone who is a defensive-minded, rebounding, power forward or center, big man. That's what the Lakers are looking for when they're talking about them getting, front court help. It's in the sense and in the term of a young, controllable, but at the very least, a good defensive-minded center who can rebound as well. And we see here the Bucks have expressed interest in Nikola Vučević playing at an all-star level. Any team that can give Vučević would certainly improve. The Bucks have expressed interest in Vučević and even did so before the season started. And Milwaukee isn't the only team, though. He has one more year left on his contract, so it wouldn't be an expiring. Whoever would trade would get additional use out of him before needing to make the decision. The Bucks already have a fairly old Brook Lopez, which can inhibit them from trading for Vučević. So, again, Brook does similar things. You can see them linked here. They've been linked in a bunch of different reports and rumors. But at the same time, it's interesting to see how they'd actually go about doing this, because as you start to look at, he's averaging 21, 10, and 3, shooting 59% from the field, 48 from 3. He's having a career year at 34 years old. Would that keep up if he gets traded to the Bucks? Absolutely not. He wouldn't shoot near that volume. He wouldn't shoot near any of that. But the problem with it is he's been so good this season that his value is probably a lot higher than the Milwaukee Bucks are willing to pay. They would have rather him be putting up 15, 5, and 5 because they're probably only going to use, again, he's having a great year, especially from three-point land. But as you look at this roster construction, they're probably going to use a lot more guys than just, they're going to need more guys than just Vučević to make this a championship team. Now, could they win the championship with this roster? Absolutely. I have full faith in the team. I've been saying it from the start. They've been playing very good in a very bad Eastern Conference. But they still need a backup power forward if they get rid of Bobby Portis. His value is super high as well. Maybe you package Bobby Portis and you make some sort of swap. There's a lot of ways to go about it, and I'm very intrigued to see what you all think, because some people are saying keep Bobby Portis. Some people are saying get rid of him, because at this point, Bobby Portis, his value is the highest it will be, and you can't win under Bobby Portis's, being your backup four, even though he's coming off of a 34-point triple-double almost, and help them beat the Wizards, who are a horrible team, obviously. So it's interesting. I saw the report, something to keep the conversation flowing. I think ultimately the Bucks are going to continue to be a very solid team with or without Vooch, but it's an interesting conversation and talking point to have. Let me know what your thoughts are on this report. Let me know down below what's the max you would trade to give up Vooch. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.